Tonight, News Channel 5 investigates double-dipping lawmakers.
They're lawmakers we caught charging two accounts for the very same trips. Our chief investigative reporter Phil Williams has been crunching the numbers.
And we did really what no one from the state of Tennessee has done, really just some old-fashioned accounting. What we discovered is a misuse of your tax dollars that's been happening for years.
Majority hereby concur without objection. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
As the head of the legislature's Fiscal Review Committee,
what this bill does,
Murfreesboro Senator Bill Ketron is supposed to watch out for how the state spends your money. So imagine our surprise when we discovered evidence that Ketron himself appeared to be cheating taxpayers.
I was horrified when I received your email.
Our investigation focused on trips taken by state lawmakers, comparing the claims for reimbursement submitted to the state to reports showing how they spent money from their campaign accounts.
Most have never heard of that.
Which brings us back to Ketron. Last year, he jetted off to Anchorage, Alaska for a meeting of the Council of State Governments. Records show his campaign paid the $1,300 hotel bill, then the state reimbursed Ketron personally for the very same room. His campaign paid airfare, then the state paid Ketron the exact same amount. His campaign also paid for food, while Ketron pocketed his daily expense allowance from the state. The Senate Republican caucus leader blames it on what he calls a miscommunication.
My legislative assistant was filling out the form for reimbursement from the state. And my treasurer was just making the payments coming from my credit card statement.
And it wasn't just one trip. There were also trips to Washington, to Phoenix, to Salt Lake City, and New Orleans, Kansas City, and Dallas, going back 6 years. On every trip we discovered, Ketron's campaign picked up the tab, and the reimbursements went to the senator's personal account. He claims he never noticed.
Did it ever occur to you over all these years that you were making money off of these trips?
No. As a small business owner, legislator, it's probably my fault for not being more diligent and keeping my eye on that ball.
After News Channel 5 Investigates began asking questions, Ketron sat down and wrote a big check.
So I had two options. I could have paid my campaign account back with what I wrote a check for yesterday, or I could have paid the state back, and I chose to pay the state back because taxpayers come first.
The amount?
$17,553.
$17,553.
$53 to be exact.
House Bill 70 by
Then there's State Representative Ryan Haynes. After Haynes announced his campaign to become chairman of the state Republican Party in late March, an anonymous letter began circulating accusing the Knoxville lawmaker of double dipping on at least 3 trips going back 4 years.
The instant I found out about it in early March, I went to the state and said, hey, I got to pay this back. This was an error.
Haynes wrote the state a check for more than $4,700, but it was dated after his big announcement. His explanation?
Once again, the instant that I found out there was an accounting error, I took steps to address that.
But why did it take you 2 or 3 years to figure that out?
Once again, the instant I found out, I went to the state to address those problems. Once again, the instant that I found out, we went to the state and addressed it.
On a much smaller scale, News Channel 5 also found one hotel charge that Memphis Representative Antonio Parkinson had billed to both his campaign and the state. Parkinson, calling it an oversight, immediately reimbursed his campaign.
The lesson is that I should pay better attention to my own housekeeping and make sure that this never occurs again.
As for Ketron, who also sits on the Senate's Ethics Committee, he says his $17,000 mistake should be viewed as just that, a mistake.
Is this a violation of Senate ethics?
Well, I don't think so at this point. It was just an oversight on my part. And like I said, I stepped up and wrote the check immediately back to the state to reimburse the state taxpayers.
Now, to Senator Ketron's credit, he agreed to sit down and admit on camera that he had messed up. He now says that he has taken affirmative steps to make sure, Vicki, that this will never, ever happen again.
And of course, you'll keep watching.
You can bet on that.
All right, thanks, Phil. Now, if you know of something we should investigate, send us your tips. The best way is through email. That address, investigate@newschannel5.com, or you can call 615-244-NEWS.